Chats, stories of God working in the lives of young people in western Montana. Chapel Chats is a production of the Diocese of Helena, Office of Youth and Young Adult Ministry, and the Catholic Youth Coalition Board. More info at dohyouth.org. Thank you to our sponsors, National Catholic Society of Foresters.
Hey, this is Father Kirby Longo, the host of your Diocese of Helena Catholic Youth Coalition Board podcast. This is the 6th edition of our podcast, and we are here today with Sophie Pomajevich. Sophie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you already said my name, and I enjoy doing things like cheer, dance, theater, and being involved in the church.
Awesome. Sophie's pretty dang active, usually the life of the party, especially at the dances, at the CYC Board and everything. So what we've been doing, kind of the bulk of what we've been doing in this podcast is kind of pushing into where the Lord is particularly at work in our lives, where, kind of looking at in detail God's providence, how he brings us through difficult situations, how he's kind of always at work in everything, and always kind of caring for us in the little things in our life. So we've been kind of looking at maybe moments of grace or sacraments, the way the church has kind of brought us up and helped us to mature, maybe people who have been great evangelizers in our own lives. So just like to know, Sophie, a little bit about the way that the Lord has worked in your life. Kind of give us a little kind of, you could say like a biographical sketch of God's providence in your life.
Well, I feel like God's providence has been on and off for me throughout my years, and I feel that he just tells me to do this and do this and do this, and then I'll be in spiritual desolation, and then I'll try to do those more and more and more, and then that doesn't happen for me, and then I get out of it, and I do those things, and then I get those back in, and then I do those things again, and it's just kind of a cycle. But I feel like being a high schooler and being able to be more involved in the church has helped me a lot more. Awesome.
Who would you say, as far as people who have been kind of great witnesses to you, do you have any in mind of people who have, whether it's friends or family or people in the, youth ministers, people in the church who have really kind of helped you to come to know the Lord, especially when you talk about kind of growing in just as you've gotten more and more involved in the church, who would you say has been kind of some of the key figures in that?
Well, my grandparents on my mother's side, they have definitely helped me get back into the flow of church. And once I got that down, I have been working on getting my dad back into it.
Oh, awesome.
So, and also the counselors at church camps have helped me with some tips and everything like that. And yeah, just anyone in the diocese, and definitely my youth minister. She's actually the best.
Awesome. Would you say, so do you have any particular stories you'd like to tell as far as would you say moments of grace? So just kind of times in which the Lord has been kind of at work in a very particular way. Do you have any stories you'd like to tell us?
Definitely. This summer, during church camp, there was confession, and previously I have gone to those before, but there was this French priest, and I feel I really connected to him and the Lord during that day, and I told him about my spiritual desolation because I was in that for a long time, that for 5 months, and so he talked to me about it, and I definitely started crying, and I just felt that like once I started crying, I guess it was like everything letting go, and I got a fresh start in my spiritual life again.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah, that's the gift of tears. That's actually like, I don't know, gift of tears is funny. It's a gift of the Holy Spirit, and it's one that's like certainly. I don't know. That was really. It's always really beautiful, and it seems like such a kind of natural thing, but at the same time, the Lord is like, it's almost sometimes like a physical sign of that like huge gift of just like letting go of all the whole weight of whether it's just like our guilt or our kind of the pain of desolation or just the difficulties. And yeah, it's a really awesome, beautiful story. And I know that particular priest, and he's a incredible confessor. So it's really awesome for you to have that gift of being able to go with him. So what do you think the future has in store for you, Sophie?
Well, right now, what I feel like the future has in store for me is getting me through high school, then college, and then like getting to be like an athletic trainer or a physical therapist, maybe both, I don't know, moving to a big city. I don't know, that's what I think my future has in store for me. I also have been feeling that sometimes I get the feeling that I might become like something in the church, like a nun or something. But I don't know if like that's gonna play out or something, but I don't really know yet.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. What are you thinking for undergrad? Like something in, I mean, obviously if you're thinking physical trainer and nurse, I mean, yeah, you could do that whether or not you're called to religious life. So you're thinking of, as far as studies, what are you considering?
A bachelor's in health and human performances. You can get like that, and you can get a job in like athletic training for high schools and colleges, or like I'm also thinking of minoring in nutritional that. So
Nice.
So
that's great. Well, I mean, just being a young priest who's really looking at the needs of the diocese, I would be pumped if you're called to religious life, because we need some young faithful women in the diocese who are going to kind of bring that beautiful feminine presence. But I'm not trying to put the pressure on. So we'll just see what the Lord has in store for you. Just keep your prayer life going, stay strong and all that. And I'm excited for your future. So to finish up here, what is a book or a saint or a style of prayer or even a song that's been really hitting you recently?
Well, there has definitely been a saint who, like, her story has always been in my life for a long time. She's actually on my medallion necklace, and she is Saint Kirby, and, like, her story has just been, like, always, like, something I've always loved. I don't know why, but, like, I thought it was just always fascinating about, like, what she did during her life, and I actually named my cat after her.
Nice.
So, if that doesn't say something that she's my favorite saint, I don't know what does.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Saint Kateri's a beautiful saint, especially being the first kind of Native American who's been canonized, and yeah, definitely a beautiful story, pretty local to us. Awesome. Well, it was great to have you, Sophie, and your witness is super powerful in the church, and especially amongst the CYC board. So it's been great to have you, and great to get to know you a little bit here. And just for those of you out there listening, we always give a shout out to the National Catholic Society of Foresters, who make this podcast possible with their financial support. If you would like to support the podcast, go ahead and get a hold of Kevin Malm. And if you just like the podcast and want to share it, feel free to post it on any sort of form of social media. get it out to your friends, share it with anyone who you think would be moved by these great stories of the Lord's grace and power in the lives of our youth. So thank you again for listening, and keep praying for the youth at the Diocese of Helena and supporting them in whatever ways you feel called. God bless and peace.